HIV viral load measures the amount of HIV that is circulating in the blood. The higher the blood level, the higher the risk of transmission. This test is usually performed on people already diagnosed with HIV, and to help choose which medication to start them on. The test will let the health practitioner know how well the medication is performing. It also monitors if the circulating HIV in your blood is dropping enough to be undetectable. If the viral load level is low, this indicates that the medication is sufficiently working to keep the virus from growing and that your immune system is healthy and you are not at high risk for any opportunistic diseases. If viral load is high, this is an indication that the medication is not working for you and you will have to start another medication. It also means your immune system is weak and you are at risk for infections and developing AIDS. What are symptoms of HIV? A person can go several years without displaying any major symptoms. A person goes through a short acute phase of HIV infection, 2 to 4 months. During this initial phase, an individual may display a syndrome of symptoms such as fever, headaches, sore throat, swollen lymph glands, muscle and joint pain, and a possible diffuse-type rash. These symptoms may appear 1 to 4 weeks after the initial infection and then last 1 to 3 weeks. The symptoms are vague and reminiscent of other infections such as influenza, therefore, an individual may not be aware of their HIV status. During this asymptomatic phase, if a person was to be tested for HIV-specific antibodies, they would test positive. During the chronic phase of HIV infection, several months to years, up to 10, may have passed and an undiagnosed individual's CD4+ T cells would have eventually dropped to very low levels of 200 to 500 cells per microliter, and the viral load of circulating HIV in the blood has increased. HIV will ultimately advance to a more active and symptomatic stage. Symptoms of earlier acute phase will be present, but much worse during this chronic phase. A common infection during this chronic phase is oral candida. They may also suffer from shingles and other viruses like herpes and Kaposi sarcoma. When a person is initially infected with the HIV virus, B cells and T cells respond in a normal fashion. The B cells make antibodies that are HIV-specific and will reduce the viral load in the blood. Helper T cells plan the attack on infected viral cells and then the killer T cells destroy them. Killer T cells seeks out virus-infected cells by way of antigens and destroy the virus-making cells. A healthy adult may have between 800 to 1200 CD4+ T cells per microliter of blood. HIV-infected CD4+ T cells die relatively early, on an average of 2 days. This can also be related to the abnormally fast replication process. HIV destroys up to 1 billion of CD4+ T cells per day. The human body can produce and replace these cells for many years, but eventually this is unsustainable and the body cannot replace the rate at which HIV is destroying CD4+ T cells.